So I know some of you have heard this, and I want you to repeat after me. Leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less.
Nichts more, nothing less.
So leadership is influence. You can keep saying it. Leadership is influence. So who and how are you influencing? So if leadership is influence, John Maxwell, my mentor, says everything rises and falls on leadership. So what does he mean by everything? I think that means everything. It doesn't have to be complicated. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And if leadership is influence, how are you influencing people around you? John Maxwell also says that the highest form of leadership is self-leadership. Before I can lead others, I've got to lead myself. And to lead myself, I have to commit to learn how to be a leader. I have to commit to grow my mind and grow my heart, grow the sphere of influence of the people that I work with and get to know them beyond just what they do. You see, in corporate world, when we work in a job, many people make the mistake of looking at people for what they can do rather than who they are. And so if I could tell you a few points today, the first one is leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. Number two, everything rises and falls on leadership. And number three, how are you growing in your leadership? What is the intentionality? You have to be intentional. Growth doesn't just happen. I love what His Excellency said. Some of it I didn't understand, but I felt it. But the words that I did hear in English, he did mention the word failure. And you've got to be willing to take a risk. You've got to be willing to reach out and ask somebody their name. You got to be willing to ask somebody about their family or what do they enjoy in life. Have you noticed I haven't said one thing about what do you do? See, really, if I were to summarize what number three would be, is as students of leadership, as people who are trying to grow as lifelong leaders, you definitely need to be good at what you do. Learn skills. But if you want to be a leader, you've got to be great at who you are. If you really want to do good and get in the door of a company and get a good job, be good at what you do. But if you want to exceed and far exceed and do great things in this life, you need to be great at who you are. And so you need to develop some of your people skills. You need to develop a curiosity about those beautiful human beings that are all around you. They're not human doings. So what do you see when you look at people? Do you see a human doing or do you see a human being? Think about it. I just learned two hand signs yesterday. One's over here like this and the other's over here like this. And I didn't realize that the one over on this side means money. So many people are just focused on money. I will tell you that you can make some money being good at what you do. But if you help others and you become great at who you are and help other people achieve their dreams and their successes, you'll never have to worry about money in your lifetime. Before I was flying over here, we went to South Korea, then Singapore, then Indonesia, and finally to your great country of Cambodia. And I had somebody who called me the other day about 2 weeks ago and was asking about this trip, and they said, John, I really would like to do what you do. And I said, well, if you want to do what I do, then do what I did. I learned that from John Maxwell. Many people ask him that. And this is the first time somebody actually told me that. And so I use John's line. Well, if you want to do what I do, then do what I did. And if you do what I did, then you can do what I do and do it many times better than I ever did it. And if you want to do what somebody around you does, then ask them, how did you achieve the level of success that you've achieved? Become a student of people. You don't learn about leadership in a book. And that's kind of scary to say because my mentor writes a lot of books. You learn about leadership by reading it, but you become a leader by applying it and taking it 18 inches from your head to your heart. And it comes about through being willing to test some things out, fail at it, learn from it, improve it, and then begin again. John Maxwell teaches a success loop of test, fail, learn, improve, re-enter. Say it with me. Test, fail, learn, improve, re-enter. Many people are okay about testing, but they don't want to fail. But what's the third thing? Learn. How are you ever going to learn unless you're willing to fail? I'm an old guy. Look, I've got gray hair. I'm even losing some hair. And I didn't get to be and do what I do today by getting everything right. I had to be willing to step out and be willing to fail, because in failure is where we learn. John Maxwell actually wrote a book. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. There's something to that. So leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And be good at what you do, but be great at who you are. The final two things I'll leave you with respect to leadership, and then I'm going to bring up the incredible George Hoskins. But the fourth thing I would tell you is called the law of the lid. If you want to be a great leader, the law of the lid says a leader's effectiveness is directly related to how much they grow as a leader. The question is, will you choose to not be a lid on the people that are following you? If you want to lead more people, then grow your leadership. Grow that leadership lid. Because what happens in the marketplace, in companies, is we'll find that somebody did some great things and became a leader over a group of people. And all of a sudden, they think they arrive. But leadership is a lifelong journey. And those who decide to rest, they begin to put a lid on their leadership. And then all of a sudden, the people who are in their group start hitting on that lid. And they've got nowhere to go. And pretty soon, people get tired of hitting a lid. It hurts when you hit your head on a lid. Why would you ever do that? And one of two things happens. Either that person's going to leave and go somewhere else where they can thrive under great leadership, or they will shrink back and be less than their potential. And I know you, as I walked through the crowd earlier, I saw people with great potential. I saw people who aren't going to be satisfied with just mediocre leadership, just stagnant leadership. Because here's what I know. When you get stuck in a place and you don't move, things begin to stink. They begin to smell. Don't be a smelly leader. Continue to progress. I love, Mr. Jonathan, you using the phrase I like to say, always choose progress over perfection. None of us are perfect. Progress over perfection. The fifth point I would tell you is another law by John Maxwell. and it's called the law of process. Leadership develops daily, not in a day. And as you begin this lifelong journey, you cannot microwave leadership. You can't instantly become a leader. You've got to choose that progress and take part in the process. That means just my choice today is to just be a little bit better than I was yesterday. And if you think about it, for those of you who might be mathematicians in the room, if you just choose to be 1% better today than I was yesterday, if you just make that decision, and then tomorrow be 1% better than you were today, if you do that for 70 days, your leadership is 100% different. You will become a completely new person in your leadership journey every 70 days. If you can't do it every day, then maybe every week. In 70 weeks, you could be a completely 100% better leader. It's a daily choice. It's the responsibility of leadership. And that's what people are looking for in the marketplace. Not only people who can be good at what they do, but leaders who can be great at who they are and see that in the people that are around them. And I know you can do that too.